The Alpha King chose her sister at the ceremony. So she vanished with his twins. A story of betrayal, strength, and a love that could not stay hidden. Luna was not the kind of girl people noticed right away. She was quiet. She kept to herself. She did her chores before anyone asked. She smiled at strangers in the market. And she never once complained, not even when life gave her plenty of reasons to. She grew up in the shadow of her elder sister, Seraphine, and honestly, most people would have given up trying to shine next to someone like that. Seraphine was beautiful in the way that made rooms go quiet. She knew exactly how to walk into a space and make everyone in it feel like they had been waiting for her to arrive. Luna was different. Luna was warm and steady, the kind of person you only truly appreciate once they are gone. And the worst part? Luna knew exactly who her fated mate was. She had known since she was 16 years old. The moon goddess had shown her, not in a dream, not in a vision, but in the way your chest tightens when a certain person walks past and you feel, deep in your bones, that the universe just shifted slightly. That person was Kalen Voss, the Alpha King. Now, most girls in the pack would have considered that a blessing. The Alpha King was everything. Powerful, respected, young for his position, and honest in the way that powerful men rarely are. But Luna did not go around telling people about it. She kept it close to her chest, like something precious she was afraid to break. She watched him from a distance. She noticed the way he took his responsibilities seriously. She noticed the way he was kind to the older pack members, even when he did not have to be. She let herself feel the pull of the mate bond quietly, privately, and she told herself that when the claiming ceremony came, the truth would reveal itself to everyone. The claiming ceremony was the most important event in their world. Once a generation, the Alpha King stood before the pack, and the moon goddess's mark would make the bond visible. Golden light, right there on their skin, for all to see. There was no hiding it. There was no faking it. The mark either appeared or it did not. Luna got dressed that evening with shaking hands. She chose a simple gown, deep green, because it was her favorite color, and she wanted to feel like herself. She braided her hair back. She pressed her palms together to steady them, and then she walked into that great hall with her heart hammering like it wanted to get out of her chest ahead of her. The ceremony began. The hall was full of candles, and the low hum of anticipation. Kalen stood at the front, tall and still, in the way that powerful people learn to stand, like the room does not move them. And then he looked up. Across the crowd, their eyes met. Luna felt it. She knew he felt it too, because for just 1 second, his composure cracked. Just 1 second. His jaw tightened. His eyes held hers just a breath longer than a stranger's would. Then he looked away. He stepped forward. He extended his hand. To Seraphine. The hall erupted in applause. People cheered. Someone near Luna laughed with delight at the beauty of the match. And Luna stood completely still in the middle of all of it, the sound fading to something far away, like she was hearing it all from underwater. She did not cry. She would not cry in front of these people. She fixed her face into something neutral, and she stood there for as long as it took to be decent, and then she slipped out of the hall quietly, the way she had done everything her whole life. That night, while the pack celebrated, Luna packed a single bag. She did not write a letter. She did not leave a note. She simply took the things that mattered: a change of clothes, a photograph of her mother who had passed 3 years before, a small coin her grandmother had pressed into her palm as a child, and she walked out of the territory before the sun came up. She crossed the border alone. She had no plan. She just knew that if she stayed, she would be asked to watch Seraphine become queen. She would be asked to bow, and she was not sure she was strong enough to do that without breaking in a way that could not be put back together. She walked until her legs ached, and then she walked further. She ended up in a small human town called Ashvale, the kind of place that does not ask questions, where people mind their business and leave you alone. An older woman named Morella found her collapsed near the edge of town, half from exhaustion and half from grief, and brought her inside without making a fuss about it. She gave Luna a bed, a bowl of something warm, and the single most valuable thing anyone had given her in months: silence. 3 months later, Luna found out she was going to be a mother. Not 1 baby, 2. She sat on the edge of the bed in Morella's spare room and held the information in her hands, like something she was not quite sure how to carry. Twins, both of them carrying an energy that the old healer who examined her described in a hushed, almost reverent voice as pure alpha-level aura. There was no mistaking whose children they were. Her first thought, if she is being honest, was to go back. Her second thought was Seraphine's face as she took Kaylin's hand. And just like that, the first thought disappeared. Luna made a decision that night. She made it quietly, without drama, sitting by the window in the dark. These children were going to be safe. They were going to be loved. They were going to grow up without being used as tools or weapons or bargaining chips by anyone. And if that meant disappearing, then she would disappear so completely that no one would ever find her. She pressed her palms flat against her stomach, and she made that promise out loud, to the moon, the same moon the goddess lived in. She did not know if anyone was listening. She chose to believe they were. 6 years passed. Luna built a life. It was a small life, but it was hers. She trained as a midwife's assistant under Morella, and turned out to be good at it. Calm under pressure. Patient. Steady-handed. The people of Ashvale liked her without knowing why. She had that effect on people. Her son, Riven, was exactly the kind of child who keeps you on your toes from the moment he opens his eyes in the morning. He was brave and mouthy and clever in the way that could either be wonderful or exhausting, depending on the day. He had strong opinions about everything and was not shy about sharing them. He fixed things, bicycles, toys, the loose hinge on their front door, with a focus that was startling in a 6-year-old. He was also, if you looked closely, the exact image of his father. Same jaw, same eyes. Luna tried not to look too closely. Her daughter Lyra was different. Lyra was quiet and observant. She noticed things. She would sit in the corner of a room and watch a situation unfold, and then, at exactly the right moment, say one sentence that cut right to the heart of it. She had silver eyes. Both of them did. Silver like moonlight on water. And it was the one thing that made Luna nervous in public, because there were no silver eyes in her family. None. They were good children. Happy children. That was what mattered. Back in Ironmoon, things were not good. The kingdom was suffering in the quiet, slow way that is almost worse than a sudden disaster. The harvest rites had failed 2 years running. Border territories were going rogue. Warriors who had served the crown for decades were beginning to leave. The pack could feel that something was wrong at the center of things, even if they could not name it exactly. The elders could name it. They named it to each other in private, in low voices, because saying it out loud in the throne room felt dangerous. The bond had been broken. The true Luna had been sent away, not by force, but by a choice that the goddess had clearly not forgiven. The kingdom would not heal until the real queen stood beside the real king. Kaylin knew this. He had known it for years, if he was honest with himself, which he was increasingly being forced to be. His wolf would not settle. At every full moon it howled, actually howled, in a way that his wolf had not done since he was a boy. He had thrown himself into governing. He had worked harder than any alpha king before him, trying to compensate through sheer effort for a problem that could not be solved by effort. He had not taken Seraphine as queen. Something in him kept refusing. He told himself it was political caution. He knew, in the part of him that was honest at 3 in the morning, when there was no one to perform for, that it was not. He ordered a search. He told himself it was for the good of the kingdom. His trackers came back with almost nothing for months. Then one of them interviewed Morella, the old healer who had found Luna at the edge of Ashvale, and Morella mentioned, casually, that the young woman had been pregnant, twins, a powerful energy she had never felt before. The tracker reported this to Kaylin in the throne room, and watched something shift behind the king's eyes, watched him go very still. Kaylin did the arithmetic in about 3 seconds. Then he dismissed the tracker and sat alone for a long time. He went to Ashvale himself, alone, in plain clothes, no guards, no crown. He asked careful questions at market stalls, and a kind woman selling vegetables told him about the lovely midwife's assistant, quiet, hard-working, 2 extraordinary children, with the most remarkable silver eyes. He bought a bag of apples he did not want, and walked back to where he had parked and sat inside, and stared at the road for a long time. He saw them before he saw her, 2 children in the town square, chasing a stray cat through a fountain, laughing, completely free and completely unaware of being watched. The boy was fast and competitive, and loudly convinced he was going to catch the cat. The girl was 2 steps ahead of him, already knowing exactly where the cat was going to turn, and they had silver eyes, both of them, like moonlight on water. Something in Kalen's chest cracked open in a way he was not prepared for. Then Luna came around the corner and stopped dead. 6 years. 6 years of silence between them, and the first word she said to him was simply, "Don't." She was not afraid of him. That was the first thing he noticed. The second thing he noticed was that she had changed in some way he could not quite put words to. She was more solid somehow, more herself. Like the 6 years had taken everything uncertain out of her, and left only what was real. He tried reason. He tried to explain. He told her about the kingdom, about the border pacts, about the harvest. She listened without interrupting, and then she told him, without raising her voice, that he had made his choice in front of everyone who mattered, and that these children were hers, and that she had no interest in the crown or in him. He asked what it would take. She said, "Nothing you can offer." He left. But at the edge of the square he looked back once, and Lyra, the girl with silver eyes and the quiet that notices everything, looked directly at him. She tilted her head, then she raised her small hand and waved. He was 3 streets away before he trusted himself to breathe properly. He kept coming back, not demanding anything. Just present. He learned their rhythms, their favorite spots, the way Riven talked with his hands when he was explaining something important, and the way Lyra went very still when she was paying close attention. He brought Lyra a book about stars because she had pressed her nose against a shop window staring at a star chart. He helped Riven fix a bicycle wheel without being asked, and without making it a big moment. Luna watched all of this, and felt something she had spent 6 years learning to suppress, beginning to move again, slowly, like ice thawing in early spring. She hated it a little. She also could not stop it. Then the threat arrived. Seraphine had found out. Strange men were asking questions in the wrong part of town, and they did not smell like Ashvale, and Myrella came to the door at night with wide eyes. Kalen intercepted them at the garden gate before Luna had even finished processing what was happening. The confrontation was fast and completely one-sided. He was still a king in his prime, and 6 years of guilt apparently did wonders for a person's training discipline. Luna came outside to find him standing alone in front of her door, bleeding from a cut on his arm, facing outward like something that was not going to move. He did not turn around. He just said, quietly, "You should not have to run again." It was the first thing he had said that she believed. Later, in the kitchen, she cleaned the cut on his arm and he talked. Not excuses, not explanations that were really just excuses in different clothes. He told her what 6 years of a kingdom fading had felt like. He told her that his wolf had howled at every full moon since the night of the ceremony. He told her that he had understood, slowly and painfully, that the choice he had made in that hall had not been strength. It had been fear dressed up as strategy. He did not ask for forgiveness. He said, "I know what I cost you. I don't know how to give that back. But I am not going to let anyone use our children as weapons." Luna looked at the table for a long time. Then she said, "They don't know about you yet. Would you like to meet them properly?" He looked at her. "May I?" A long pause. Then, "Don't make me regret it." Lyra accepted him within about 30 seconds, looked him up and down with her serious silver eyes, and said, "You smell like my dreams. I thought you were just a dream." Then she climbed into his lap and showed him her star book. Riven asked him 27 questions over breakfast, some of which Kalen answered correctly, and several of which he very clearly did not answer to Riven's satisfaction. By noon, Riven was showing him the bicycle with proprietary pride. By evening, he had fallen asleep against Kalen's arm on the sofa, and Kalen sat completely still so as not to wake him, staring at the ceiling with an expression that Luna did not know how to describe. She stood in the doorway and looked at her son asleep against a man who should have been there from the beginning, and she felt the mate bond, the thing she had been holding underwater for 6 years, rise all the way to the surface. She stepped back before he could see her face. They had to go back to Iron Moon eventually. Seraphine was not finished, and Ashvale was no longer safe. Luna agreed to go. Her terms, her rules, the right to leave whenever she chose. Kalen agreed to every condition without hesitation, which she noticed. The moment she entered Iron Moon, the pack felt it. Mate bonds between a true king and his true Luna carry a particular weight that the whole territory can sense, and this one had been suppressed for 6 years. When it surfaced fully, it was like a door opening in a house that had been shut up for too long. People lifted their heads. Warriors who had been stiff and tired stood a little straighter. The eldest pack elder, a woman in her 80s who had seen 4 kings crowned, came to the great hall and knelt on the stone floor. Luna stood very still and did not know where to look. Seraphine launched her final move, a legal challenge to the twins' right of succession, filed before she lost the political ground to do so. Kaelin's response was to formally acknowledge Riven and Lyra before the challenge could be processed. On record, publicly, in front of the council. Seraphine's move dissolved before it landed. Then came the rogue pack Seraphine had hired. They were not subtle about it. And Riven, furious, half-shifted in a way no 6-year-old should have been able to manage, held his own, against a grown rogue wolf, for 3 full minutes before Kaelin reached him. It was terrifying. It was also, quietly, the moment the pack accepted the twins completely. The truth about Seraphine's involvement came out in full. The council documented everything, and Luna, when offered the chance to name the punishment, said only, "Exile. She spent 6 years making me disappear. She can know what that feels like." No anger in her voice when she said it, just a woman who was done. Seraphine left at dawn. She did not look back. The second claiming ceremony was not a correction. The elders were clear about that. It was a completion, the finishing of something the goddess had always intended, delayed by a man who had taken 6 years to become someone worthy of what he had been given. "Dad is more nervous than you." She laughed, really laughed, alone in the room, the kind of laugh that clears the chest of something heavy. She walked into the hall in deep green and gold, with Lyra's braided friendship bracelet around her wrist, and the note folded in her pocket. Kaelin was already at the altar. He did not perform when she walked in. He did not put on the expression of a king greeting his queen for the audience's benefit. He just looked at her the way he should have looked at her 6 years ago, simple and true, and let everyone in that hall see it. The moon goddess's mark appeared on both of their wrists at exactly the same moment. Golden light, warm and steady. The eldest elder said later that in 60 years of ceremonies, she had never seen the mark appear on both at once. Not once. The hall came apart in noise and light. In the front row, Riven stood with his arms crossed, doing his absolute best to look like someone who was not moved by this at all. Lyra reached over and took his hand. He looked at the ceiling for a moment. Then he looked back at his parents at the altar, and his arms slowly uncrossed. Outside, the fields that had gone to sleep for 2 years were already beginning to wake up. The pack could feel it. Warmth moving through the territory like something remembered, like something finally coming home. Luna had not asked for a crown. She had not asked for a kingdom. She had asked for her children to be safe and her life to be hers. She got all of it. Some things in this world are fated, not because fate is kind, but because the truth has a way of surviving everything you throw at it. 6 years of exile, 1 terrible ceremony, a sister's ambition, a kingdom going quiet. The truth just waits, patient as the moon, steady as a bond that was written into 2 people before they were old enough to understand what it meant. It waited for Luna, and in the end, it won.